After my dad lost his judge job uh, when he was 65 years old, he reopened his law practice. And uh, I wish I could dig up a picture of him with the old man that was living in our cabin at the time, carrying his law books back in to start a new law practice at age 65. But he took court-appointed cases, uh, which is a very humble thing for a lawyer to do, who's experienced, like my dad. That's something usually that young lawyers do, getting started out to get some work. But Dad did it, and he had a couple of notable cases. But the one I want to mention is the one where a fellow who was a transient, not really a hobo, who was trying to get some money together to get back to his family in the Midwest. I don't know why he was in bad way that he needed to come out to Hood River to do that, but he was working in the orchard and then sleeping down in the transient jungle, so-called hobo jungle. Well, one night uh, he went into a boxcar that was parked there at the train station late at night. It was dark, and he was going to go in there and get some sleep, but another hobo guy came in drunk and stepped on him, and it you might say pissed him off, and he had a knife, and he got the knife out and kind of went like this, and it happened to hit that fellow in a vital spot, and they charged him with murder. And my dad was defending, and the way Dad got him acquitted was that he had been taken to the hospital. The victim had been taken to the hospital, and when he got there, instead of them treating him, they handed him back to the police. He was bleeding. They handed him back to the police and said, "Get him out of here." And they hauled him to the edge of town, along with a buddy of his that had come along to try and get his bleeding friend some care. They took the two of them out to the edge of town and literally kicked the victim in the ass and said, "Get out of here and don't come back." Well, he staggered up the highway. Somebody stopped and gave him a ride into the town 20 miles east called the Dalles, and he staggered down the street, collapsed, and died. So when they investigated back on it, they found out Dad's client had indeed gone like this with his knife in the boxcar. But the way Dad got this fellow acquitted was he put the hospital on trial for having denied him care. And he kept talking about that and talking about that and talking about that. And so I think the jury decided that the defense was a defense of exposing the victim to death by not treating him. And so they must have concluded, based on my dad's argument, that the defendant was not the cause of death, the hospital was, and they acquitted that man. Think of that. Another one, my brother. There was a Hispanic man in town, a Mexican man, who had a couple of chainsaws, and he'd gotten some small contracts from the Forest Service to go out and thin trees. Well, he went out one night to a dance, and he started dancing with this white woman who, by all reports, was enjoying dancing with him. But some white guys there didn't think much of a Mexican guy. This is long before there were so many Hispanic people in the Northwest and Hood or so forth. But they were mad because he was gaining some attention from this white woman. So they follow him out into the parking lot as he's leaving, and one of the guys gets a chain out of the back of his car, and he's whirling that chain around and hitting my brother, Tunis, his client, with this chain, and he gets a knife out. And it's not a very big knife. The blade was only about that long, pocket knife. You open that up, and you like this. Isn't it coincidence that two Tunises ended up defending people for murder in the same small town where they went like that with a knife? And so in that case, my brother got the guy acquitted by emphasizing that these white guys were ganging up on him. There were, I don't know how many of them, at least two or three, and that he was down on his back, I don't know where my brother got the evidence of that, but he presented that he was down on his back when he got his knife out and went like that. Jury jury convicted him of assault in the fourth degree. Well, assault in the fourth degree, the maximum penalty is, I think, 30 days in the county jail. So, and he'd been locked up for a while, so credit for time served. They released him. Uh, I'm so proud of my brother that he stuck up for this fellow. He was an industrious guy. He owned some chainsaws, uh, and he didn't have any money. He told my brother he would pay him after the case was over. But the sad ending to this story is that a couple of months later, that man disappeared, never to be seen again. But that doesn't kill my gratitude to my brother for having stood up for an underdog. And that's pretty close to the core of what being a lawyer is about, is sticking up for people. And I'm so proud to be in a tradition with my father and my brother that we've done that over and over. And that's the end of that tape.